Hello, welcome to this update. It is a very quick update, not going too deep today, but let's see what's happening because we have important things you should worry about. So, first in the tropics, we have this area now at 40% chance of formation near the east coast of Florida. It might form in the Gulf and head towards Louisiana, but still a low chance because yesterday, models were showing some other things, but today the guidance is not too great. But we'll keep watching. They still might get named in the Gulf, but still a low chance. So let's take a look. East of the Florida Peninsula into the northeastern Gulf, invest 93L. So satellite and radar data indicate that short-term storm activity associated with the area low pressure just offshore the east coast of Florida remains disorganized. The system is forecast to move westward across the Florida Peninsula today and reach the northeastern Gulf by Wednesday. Environmental conditions appear generally favorable for additional development. A tropical depression could form while the system moves across the northeastern and north central Gulf. So, regardless of the event, heavy rainfall could produce localized flash flooding over parts of Florida through midweek, and heavy rainfall can cause flash flooding in portions of the north central Gulf Coast to middle to latter portions of this week. So, be careful in those areas. That's the main threat. The rest is quiet for now. The Eastern Pacific too. So let's see here. Because yesterday we had some major floods in the Northeast, including New York and New Jersey, and there's still this moderate risk until 12Z. So this was the outlook for yesterday, that there was also moderate risk in Texas, and it's like valid until 12Z. So please be careful if there's still flooding in those areas, especially across New York Metro and spots in New Jersey. So be careful. But the actual day one outlook for Tuesday today is this one, and there are more than five slight risks. So there's one in Arizona still, across south central Texas, spots of the plains to the Midwest, from Nebraska to Michigan, another one in the east in the Mid-Atlantic still, and Florida. So be careful in those areas with flash flooding. Stay safe in case of flooding. And yesterday also in Florida, there were some major storms, so be careful with flooding. Day two is a slight risk from Colorado to Wisconsin, another one from Ohio to New Jersey, so be careful. Day three starts ramping up in the Gulf around Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. A slight risk in this huge margin from Nevada to Maine, so be careful. And guess what happens on day four? A moderate risk array for Louisiana on day four, and a slight risk across the south, a slight in the Midwest, spots of the Appalachians, and this margin from Arizona to Minnesota. So be careful in those areas, especially in Louisiana. When this system comes, there's already a moderate risk. Day five is light still in the south, spots in the Midwest. So be careful. Day one through seven, they have upwards of 10 inches in southern Louisiana possible. So please be mindful of this. Even if it doesn't get named, please be careful. And shows more across Mexico, a few spots of the west, but the rest is dry, and to the Midwest and the Appalachians. So stay safe in those areas. You can see here still in the red some flash flooding. That yellow is severe weather that you will see right now, and some general storms there in the green. So stay safe, be careful. The heat too. Still some major heat risk across the south, southeast, especially Wednesday into the northeast and the south. Thursday, still some major heat risk on the east. Friday, Saturday, still in the southeast. Sunday, so stay safe that heat in the plains and the southwest as well. So be careful. You can see Invest 93W, W993L is very disorganized now. There's some convection, but the rest is just cloud cover. Yesterday evening, this thing was like very impressive on satellite, but I guess it die down a little bit, but we're still watching. The models take this over Florida and into the Gulf, mainly into Louisiana or Mississippi, but especially into Louisiana, the GFS as well, and there's like the Canadian, you go slightly further north through Florida, the Canadian into Louisiana. So be aware, those areas, the intensity guidance is not too impressive. There are a few models at tropical storm strength further out. There's this one in about 24 hours, but most of them just remain below tropical storm strength. This might just be a quick tropical depression, but this will still change here depending on what happens. So the GFS does show this goes into the Gulf there, and you can barely notice it. It just goes in some heavy rain and nothing forms. So the GFS not even forming this. The European shows like this goes kind of a little bit more organized and just goes into Louisiana, some heavy rain, especially by Thursday and Friday. So, but it's not forming it either to like a tropical storm. It might be a quick tropical depression. The Canadian tries to form this into something, but like very weak. It barely shows tropical depression strength, but don't seem kind of organized. But yeah, like 1011 millibars. It might be a quick tropical depression. There's the icon that was crazy a few days ago, but it does show now this goes and it barely forms it. The icon just keeps it low, like a tropical depression or something. So we are watching this, but still very low chance. There's the HRF, the hurricane model. It shows this goes and it's already at 1014 millibars. This goes, but like very disorganized. Might get to 1011 or something closer to Louisiana. So as it gets into Louisiana, it kind of organizes more, but still very low chance. The Hefs A as well show like they're near Florida. It's actually showing 1005 millibars now. The Hefs A. This goes into the Gulf and tries to form this like 1002. It tries to form it into something, but still, still a low chance. But be aware of flash flooding there. And as you can see there in Florida, more of the storms because this invest is going to pass right over you. So today is really a day to watch for flooding. Be careful. And also, as you can see on this map as well, those severe storms today. So let's see here. There's an enhanced risk for today, July 15th, across Nebraska and to southernmost South Dakota. So be careful in those areas. And the slight risk from Kansas to Michigan and northern Wyoming. So the wind threat is 30% hatched for some hurricane force winds possible. There's the 15% goes all the way to Michigan and the 15% Wyoming, even 5% in Arizona, so be careful. Hail, 15%, and 2% tornado threat, one into Wisconsin and Minnesota, spots of Michigan, another one in South Dakota and Nebraska. So be careful in those areas too. Scarred severe gusts, some significant large hail are probable across parts of Nebraska this evening. A mix of scarred and damaging winds and severe hail also possible the upper Great Lakes to Wyoming this afternoon and evening. So stay safe in those areas. There's this positive tilt shortwave trough over the northern Rockies that will pivot eastward across the northern Great Plains by early Wednesday. Low amplitude shortwave impulses will persist downstream of the southern Canadian prairies and northern Ontario. Multiple MCVs will drift east from the Central Rockies and upper Midwest. As the surface region builds down the high plains today, a least cyclone should be centered over the central high plains this afternoon, and the slow-moving portion of the cold front will extend northeast towards the Lake Superior. This boundary should become more wavy. Extensive convection outflows occurred this evening. So be careful. The Cape is also high to 2,000, 3,500 joules per kilogram. And there's Amid very steep mid-level lapse rates, a corridor of large buoyancy is also present. So be careful. Those areas today, they show here the her like the Cape in Nebraska should be close to 2,500 joules per kilogram, a few spots to 3,000, even a few spots in Minnesota to 3,500. So there's a lot of energy, yes, and be careful in those areas. And as I showed you, those storms here, like central areas, where is it? Here, especially later this afternoon, starts in Nebraska and South Dakota, those damaging winds. So stay safe in those areas. There's max wind gust too. Shows here like if I put it until Wednesday, there's a few spots in Nebraska, especially even shows a black there close to 80 mile per gust or even higher to 85 mile per gust. A few isolated locations. The rest just from 60 to 75 mile per gust. So stay safe in those storms. There's still a slight risk for Wednesday tomorrow in the Midwest and the marginal. So 2% tornado threat in Illinois and to Wisconsin and Iowa. Wind threat 15.5% and some hail in the high plains. So be careful. Scared strong severe storms possible Wednesday afternoon and evening parts central high plains to the Great Lakes. Be careful and just some general storms by Thursday. And then there's still some critical fire risk with dry thunderstorms across the west, big area of possible dry thunderstorms across the Great Basin, some critical fire threat in Nebraska, no, in Nevada, into spots of Arizona and Utah. So be careful and the elevated fire threat around it as well. And there's like some dry thunderstorms still possible tomorrow and elevated on the west. So stay safe in those areas. Be careful. The European model does show a lot of rains. This goes into Louisiana, even if that doesn't get named. It's even showing to 6 to 7 inches in a few spots. The GFS is kind of meh, but the icon shows a lot further out to sea. So be aware, those areas, the herd just until Thursday, like short range, it does show there in Florida, those areas, a few spots to like 4 inches, and some other localized spots to like 5 inches. So stay safe, those storms in the Bahamas as well, and the Midwest, those storms. So stay safe. Shows like across southern Canada, some rain today as well, especially storms in Ontario, some stronger to severe ones. So stay safe and some rain western Canada Wednesday, Wednesday afternoon, and a few storms. So be careful. Does show until Sunday this corridor from Ontario to Labrador with more rain. So be aware, and some on the west as well, western, central western Canada. So be aware in those areas. They do have here like some thunderstorm threat Tuesday in the prairies. Nothing too great, but in Ontario, like that's Monday until Tuesday. So here they choose today shows across southern Ontario, some hail, some damaging winds too, and some heavy rain. And if they update this today, it might be a higher threat because the European did have some big storms there. So be careful in those areas and still those high temperatures, as you saw there in the heat risk. So stay safe in those areas, even some hundreds in the southwest, still spots with some high 90s in the south, in the plains. So stay safe. Tuesday, Wednesday still shows even across southern Texas, close to 100. Some areas in the plains to the northeast and on the southwest. So stay safe in those areas. And across Canada, like warmish central Canada, and Ontario is quite hot. Southern Ontario ahead of that of those storms. So be aware, and some spots still colder across northernmost Canada and the Rockies. So yeah, be aware, but nothing too crazy. Just check if there's any snow somewhere. Not really, but extreme northern Canada more likely. Across northernmost Quebec, a few spots there. The Europeans, it's even showing in the Rockies like a finger or two, but I don't quite believe that because the GFS is not really showing anything. The icon, like absolutely zero, but there might be a snowflake or two in the highest peaks. So be aware those areas and stay safe, especially the storm possible in the Gulf and the heavy rain, and that's severe weather too. And there are some strong gusts in Nunavut in Quebec today, and spots in the Pacific Northwest out in the ocean, so be aware. And with the storms Thursday, even show some more wind in Ontario, the Rockies, and the Caribbean too. So Friday, still in the southern Caribbean, some more winds, and there in Labrador and Canada, by Friday and Saturday, some strong gusts. So stay safe, be careful those storms. The image of the day is this big storm I saw over the ocean last Thursday. Stay safe.